What's going on, beautiful people? This is episode 133 of the Chasing Points podcast with the Millennial Pause and all. Back again to share our insight on what's happening in sports. Harrison's back, Sam's back, I'm back. We will be talking about the NBA playoffs. It has been absolutely phenomenal. We will talk about the three of our hats because we're all rocking New York, apparently.
I was going to mention that. Great
hat selection, gentlemen. We will definitely be talking a little bit about baseball here and there. We'll see where we're at for that. And we got some interesting Do You Cares. So let's just jump right into this. Let's not waste any time. We are now in round 2, which is, for those that want to be technical, the conference semifinals. But before we get to the matchups, as when we're recording today, there are two, a game 2 of one round and a game 1 of the Knicks that Sam's hat, he's wearing on his hat. But let's just run down the game that happened last night or yesterday during the afternoon. It was the Cavs stomping a mud hole in the Magic's ass in Game 7 after being down 18 points, which was absolutely wild. I thought there was no way in hell, the way that started off, that the Cavs were going to come back. Now, I know there's always runs in the NBA, but it was looking like the Cavs were running out of time, and they proved otherwise. Donovan Mitchell had 39 points in this game. In Game 6, he had 50 points. He's absolutely been balling out of his mind. And he's out of contract at the end of this year, Harrison? Next year. Okay.
Next year.
Yeah, he's going to be highly sought after. Cavs are going to face the Celtics now, which is going to be very, very interesting series. Gentlemen, what were your thoughts on this Game 7 or just the series in general?
Well, for me, I didn't watch it much. It was the NBA TV series, so it was relegated to kind of the second fiddle mostly the whole time. It was up against a lot of other good matchups that I was really tuned into. I'm kind of shocked it went 7. I thought at first with the Magic, they looked so young in the first game and basically overmatched. So it's exciting for them to be able to pull that to a Game 7. For the Cavs, I'm a little disappointed that it took them that long to put the Magic away. But, we'll see how they do next round. I don't think very well.
I don't either. I don't even think that. I think the series that's going to be the closest now going forward in the Eastern Conference, even though I think the Pacers-Knicks series, which we'll get to, it can be very, very interesting. The matchups that they have in there, but I don't know if even that is going to withstand more than 6 games or not. But yeah, I'm with you, Harrison, on how long the Cavs were just like in this. But I also at the same time I'm just thinking historically, like the 4 or 5 matchups are always like drawn out most of the times. But I think it's, if anything that we can and should take away from this is if we rewind back to when we did our preseason NBA conversation on here, and we said the teams that we thought were going to make in the playoffs, and we had the Magic in there, and seeing where they were, this team, the sky's the limit for them at this point in time. I think they're really just missing a point guard at this point in time. Yeah. Because Suggs is not really a true point guard. Most of them are two-way guards and more of a complex type guard, not a point guard. I think they really, really need that just to have somebody facilitate the ball, because really the ball, it was all on Wagner and Banchero the whole game. So
and Paulo played out of his damn mind.
He absolutely played out of his mind. Like, he is everything that the Magic wanted in that pick. You know what I mean? Like,
slam dunk.
He's Rookie of the Year last year. He's an All-Star this year. It just is absolutely panning out for them, and I'm very, very intrigued to see what happens. I just don't, to Harrison's point, which when we'll talk about that series, I really don't have much to talk about, so I'll say it right now. I'm not going to say really anything about the Cavs because I think they're absolutely going to get blown out, and it's just not going to be close. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I think to your point, Hayes, like the Magic were playing with house money in a way. Like we saw the talent they've been collecting talent for years, and this was the step. Can Paulo on the big stage? We've talked about that for the last couple weeks with the next generation of stars, if you will. Like Franz Wagner didn't really have game 7 did not really shoot well. It's interesting. We all know that they need point guards. I feel like this whole team, there's so many point guards on this team between like
so many guards.
Between you mentioned Suggs, but like Cole Anthony, Markelle Fultz, like there's a lot. They need shooting on this team. We saw like Paulo can't do it. He just looked. He played like 42 minutes yesterday. He was all over the place. He's not he needs to develop more of a shot. He will. He will, and I'm not saying that's why they lost. Again, I believe the sky's the limit for him. But it's interesting that it went 7. The home team won in every game, right? Yeah. So it's kind of not what you want when to be gassed and then to go up against the number 1 seed if you're the Cavs. I think we're all fans of Donovan Mitchell. I don't know if he's on an absurd pace, 89 points the last 2 games. As you mentioned, I don't know if he can do this.
This is what he does in the playoffs. So when he was on the Jazz, him and Jamal Murray went toe-to-toe for a whole series, and it was like 45-50. So maybe he can keep it up. I think the Celtics have, a better set of defenders to throw at him. So if they slow him down a little, I just don't see where the Cavs are getting much offense from. And then if Jared Allen is still hurt because he's got a shoulder injury, I just don't see it for him. I'm a little disappointed myself for not really watching this series. Like, I watched game 1 and kind of wrote the whole thing off, and then I was like, oh, this is game 7? Like, what is happening? How did this get here?
I'm right there with you. I thought it was going to be over way sooner. I was just like, okay, whatever. And now I kind of want to just go back and look at and watch the games, which I might just do when I'm bored. Just put it on as background noise and just see it from there and see what happened. But yeah, I definitely wrote this off.
Yeah, I lost track of it. I didn't know where it was. The Pels and the Thunder too. I just kind of did not watch enough of that series.
You didn't need to watch it.
Well, no, I know, and it's a shame that Zion got hurt in the play-in, but it was one of the wait, the series is still going on. What's going?
Zion hurt?
Yeah.
What?
No, but game 7 yesterday.
He lasted a long time this year, Hayes.
Yeah, he did. He did.
He really did.
I'll give him props, and I'll give the frequently injured players props this year because they pretty much made it through most of the season, and then
I know
at the worst time, shit happened.
Yeah,
so, Kawhi, AD,
Kawhi, worst times.
Yep.
You made it to the season, and now we don't have you for the playoffs.
The chasing points all glass team or whatever. They played up. I mean. Except for Kawhi, sure. Did show up in the playoffs, but
Speaking of all glass, there's a gentleman that likes to lay the ball off the glass every which way, spinning in every different angles. His name is Kyrie Irving, and he plays for the Dallas Mavericks. And they beat the Clippers 4-2.
It's a good segue
in the series. And thank you. The Clippers again lose the series. First round, early round bounce, not living up to the potential of what it is. And this is now to the point that we open this conversation, which the talks are all around PG and where PG is going to go, if they're breaking this up, what this is going to look like. So I want to stay there real quick with the Clippers first before we get to the Mavs, because I have some great things to say about that Mavs team. I don't have great things to say about this Clippers team. Kawhi, although we know Kawhi is such a great two-way player, it's different seeing him in a regular. I don't care to see Kawhi in a regular season. I love seeing him in the playoffs, and we've been stripped of that for too long in recent memory, and I don't like it because he's had great moments in playoffs. So, not being able to see that is upsetting. Tyronn Lue is getting the short end of the stick in this situation because he's such a great coach, but you're only as good as you can be if your star players are not playing, right? And the star players aren't playing. At least the biggest star player on his team is not playing. Also, I think back to what Sam said us earlier today, which I was thinking to myself when they lost, is Kawhi didn't want to play with SGA. and SGA is potentially the MVP of the league, and you wanted to play with Paul George, and you guys haven't won anything. You have Russ, you have James Harden, and you guys can't do anything. Like, this is like the all-century wash team at this point in time because they all feel like it's like it's 4 Hall of Famers on one team, and it just goes nowhere at this point in time. So very sad. So I'll stop talking about the Clips. I want to hear what you guys think about them.
Well, it just
what it was like.
it hardly ever works. Like when you stack, it's just so much like Paul Pierce, Deron Williams, Kevin Garnett, Brooklyn Nets vibes with them.
Don't remind me of that. You didn't have to
James Harden should really be sending thank you notes to Kendrick and Drake. They took a lot of heat off him Friday night because
they did.
That's so true, dude. That is so true.
Twitter and X would be going crazy on James Harden Friday night, but who cared? Because some hot diss tracks just dropped. So Harden needs thank you notes. It just never came together for the right time for them, and I don't know what you can expect from Kawhi. Going forward, it's been said that he has a degenerative knee and he's had this for the last 3 years since Toronto. So I don't think they'll ever be able to piece it together. It doesn't look like they will. Paul George is a free agent. It's not looking good for them.
Who's got like metal in his leg?
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah.
Speaking of that,
I think Paul George can still be a fantastic player on somewhere else. I'd like to see him on the Sixers. I think that could be a good matchup for him. But otherwise, I just don't see where the Clips are going. They're moving into a new arena next year. They got some decisions to make.
Yeah, I mean, Steve Ballmer, just by all accounts, has been just wanting to have that huge splash. We've talked about it here. I mean, now the redesign of their identity, like their logo, new arena, they're out of the Staples Center, whatever it's called now, like Shadow. Like this was supposed to be that moment, but yeah, you sign Kawhi. He wants PG, which great player, but yeah, you trade like between pick swaps and firsts and SGA and Gallinari and all it, like it just diminishing returns, and now you're at a crossroads. I think Ty Lue's a free agent or has an option or something.
Harden gonna resign.
Harden's a free agent. Russ, like there's we mentioned PG. Where could he go? Like this is do you retool and bring it back? Do you what do you do here?
Well,
but
I don't know if you can retool because you have Kawhi still on the hook for his contract.
You just signed him to an extension. Yeah, he has like 3 years left. Yeah.
So I mean, you brought James over. You have Russ. So it's just like you traded away a lot of your future for a moment. And at that point in time, like you wanted to win now, which if we're looking back at that trade of getting rid of SGA, is like he wanted somebody that was already an all-star, which you got PG at that point in time, but PG did well in Indiana, but never made it over the hump because he also had, some other superstars in the East at that point in time. So yeah, I don't know what they do, but they need to do something to make it exciting because they have this new arena, new jerseys, all this. So it's ironic that one of the logos is going to be a ship because there's going to be a lot of people that's going to be shipped out of there.
I know we didn't want to do numbers, but Norman Powell is making $19 and $20 million the next 2 years for the Clippers. Sorry, I just had to throw that out there. I'm just looking at it now. I'm just like astonished.
So they have money to sign Tobias Harris, is what you're saying?
Let's leave Tobias alone for now.
So, he's trash, man. Oh my!
If I'm Joel Embiid, I'm probably sitting there every day like we picked Tobias over Jimmy Butler.
I know we're not there, but I just have to get that out.
Yeah.
He is,
dude.
Like
we've been talking about that and making that joke for like 3 years now, and I know we've all been friends for a really long time, but it's like. Dude, what the hell? Like, you gave Tobias Harris $200 million. You let Jimmy Butler, who, yes, has his own problems, but...
I rarely shit on players, but he is fucking trash.
Hey, man, finesse God, man. Finesse. $200 million, no all-star appearances. Good for you, man.
Oh, God.
It's crazy is that we're saying this and we just think it's so terrible. I have Philly sports Twitter on my whole thing because of me being an Eagles fan, and I see those same handles talk about Tobias Harris throughout the whole entire season. It is the funniest damn thing ever because it's like, damn, they really played like Kevin Garnett, Rasheed Wallace, like retired NBA like Hall of Famers, superstars are even talking about like, damn, this dude does nothing. Like, what are you doing? Tobias is
I
just
have like it was
sitting
so
there just
I have
raking
like
in.
a closet Sixers rooting interest because my buddy works for them and he just sends me tons of
Mm-hmm.
Sixers gear and I love Tyrese Maxey and I really like Embiid and I
Yeah.
understand he's like a crazy person but I like watching him. But Tobias Harris just made me so mad, like so mad.
He's not great.
Dude, that
He's
team,
not
that
great.
team. I know we're on a crazy
Yeah,
tangent, but
yeah.
that team. I mean, peak Ben Simmons and JJ and like that team and Jimmy. Like that team should have been so much
Oh
better.
yeah, yeah.
Like it's crazy.
I've
I know
enjoyed
like the whole Kawhi like crazy
yeah. I've enjoyed the Sixers.
doink,
It's an
but
annoying
yeah,
ride, but I've semi enjoyed it
yeah,
over the years. But Tobias Harris is god awful.
yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Okay. Yeah, we can carry on now.
let's talk
Let's talk
about
about the Mavs. Let's talk about the Mavs.
the Mavs. How about that?
So Jason Kidd just signed a multi-year contract. I know there was like a little rumbling and seeing if he was going to go somewhere else. That'd be absolutely stupid if they let him go after this. Jason Kidd is I honestly feel this is the best coach for Kyrie. Kyrie grew up as a Nets fan. Jason Kidd is a ball handler. I mean, he's in his own right. He was a phenomenal ball handler. Obviously, he didn't have the handle like Kyrie. But what he did with the ball, he was a wizard, just like Kyrie. So he has somebody that's been there, won a championship, just like Kyrie has, to talk to him and give them the knowledge and go from that aspect as well too. But just seeing that combo together, I remember when we were talking about Kyrie and Luka last year and how it failed and what it was going to look like moving forward. Well, we know what it's going to look like moving forward. They went and made some trades this season, went out and got PJ Washington, which I absolutely love that they went and got PJ. Um, they got some good surrounding players around them where they looked like they weren't going to have anything last year. And this year they put some complementary pieces around them. Man, what Kyrie and Luka have done, like even when they both do ISO ball, it's not complete ISO ball. It's yes, they get the ISO ball, but they have the vision to still
You
dish
still have
it
to
off at
account
the
for him.
last
Yeah.
second
Yep.
and still do it. Kyrie himself, the moves that he made in this series of driving to the rack, triple clutching it with three people on him, still throwing it up, like it's the in and out snatch fade three in the corner in the last game. Like it's just absolutely nuts. The stuff that both Luka and Kyrie can do with the ball, and they're on the same team. This is going to get really, really scary as they continue to go on in the playoffs because I'm telling you right now, I will get to who their matchup is, but they can really be scary for teams moving forward. I'm just very happy to see how they are playing. It's very exciting basketball.
Yeah, we
Honestly.
knew and we saw it last year when Kyrie got there. Yeah, the two of them are easily going to put up 70, 75 points a night, and they did, but there wasn't much around them and they had to give up, assets to get Kyrie in the building with the idea that they would re-sign him, which they did, and now, to your point, Hayes made some great trades and got some depth, and we know like how deep is your rotation in April and May and June, and like who's going to be out there when it's the last quarter of the game kind of thing, and that they've played a lot better, and they've I don't know if you told when the last series started, and like assuming Kawhi was healthy, because that came out of nowhere too. All of a sudden it was like
Yeah.
Kawhi's not playing, and he didn't. Like I did not think the Mavs would be in this position, but again, that they are two of them, the more dominant scorers in this league, and what they can do around the rim and the attention that they demand is it's going to cause problems if the rest of the team can
I've got
put up shots where they need to, and it's been fun to watch.
I've got three things on the Mavs: two good, one bad. So, first one, Kyrie Irving. It's phenomenal to see him playing like we know that he's capable of playing after being through so much drama and other
Yeah.
stuff for the last 4 to 5 years.
Yeah.
Nets and Celtics, and it's just it's been. And last year with the Mavs was not fun for a Kyrie Irving
No.
fan. It's like someone that I know I love watching him play. I'm sure you guys do too. So to see him kind of realize his powers again and be dominant again was awesome. I love the roster they've built around them. I think the way they've built length at every position, size at every position where they can switch everything is fantastic, and they're a formidable opponent. My third, I'm not ready to buy in yet. I think they beat a depleted Clippers team who I didn't really love. And I don't know if they have enough, and I think they're tied up money wise with way too much stuff, and it's not a very mobile team. To be able to make moves and improve. And I don't see them winning a championship this year. So where does that leave you? Kind of just stuck in the middle for me. So 3 things for the Mavs, 2 good, 1 bad. So I'm not ready to crown them yet.
That's fair. That's a fair assessment, I'd say. At this point, they
could definitely be the Thunder. I think the Thunder are young, and inexperienced. And they're going to make that a series, I think, just because of their scoring alone and size at every position. But if they don't win, it's a second round flame out, and it's like, all right, where do we go from here?
Yeah. I hear you on that. It is going to be very interesting to see where they're going to go with this, because they are facing the Thunder, and it is not going to be an easy task at all. The Thunder are the 1 seed, correct? So they're the 1 seed for a reason. Yeah. I remember they're the 1 seed. Yeah, they're the 1 seed.
It was so confusing.
3-way tie.
It was like Nuggets, Timberwolves, and Thunder.
Yeah. There's essentially 3 1 seeds in the West right now, which is absolutely nuts playing through this through. Let's get to the game that is happening. Well, the team that's playing tonight. The team that Sam is wearing on his hat is the Knicks. We already talked about the Sixers enough, but there's one thing on the Sixers that I want to talk about.
You got it.
That we absolutely need to address has Joel Embiid taken the crown for being the dirtiest player in the NBA for what he has done in that series and what he has done outside of that series, because he's also done dirty stuff outside of that series.
What did he do outside the series?
He's been known to do dirty shit.
Oh, okay.
Game.
I recuse myself from this.
Can't
plead the fifth here, brother.
As the dirtiest, I mean that you can't do what he did under the basket to anyone, let alone a 7-foot,
unacceptable
Mitchell Robinson.
Unacceptable.
And yeah, right, totally. I still think. And I love Draymond. It's but he's a liability. He will be the dirtiest player in the league until he laces them up, and we might just give him a year after that to just because that podcast isn't going anywhere, and he's just going to continue to run his mouth. So and I say I'm a fan. I like Draymond. Like I'm not like, but yeah, it's. Man, what a kind of crazy scenario for the Sixers, right? You get Embiid back. You think, like, you get a couple games under your belt before the playoffs. You think you're in good shape. Maxi's playing out of his mind. Teams don't want to play you. Teams are going the other way because they don't, and rightfully so. And then, like, some crazy calls, some weird ends to some games here. And then, like, Embiid run, after face down, talking to all of this stuff. Knicks fans like invading Phil. Like this was such a crazy, and I'm not even saying as a Knicks fan, but like just the dynamics of this last 2 weeks in Philadelphia has been just kind of wild.
One of the greatest series in the last 10 to 15 years, maybe further. It was fantastic. It was a great opening round series. Yeah. It had everything. It had close games. It had controversy. It had great basketball. It was fantastic to watch. That's all.
I still just can't believe that shot that they gave Maxey at the top of the key.
They should have fouled him.
They should have fouled him, which they did the next game they played. They made sure they fouled him. They were like, we're not going to have this happen again.
Blatantly,
Jalen Brunson figured it out throughout the series. Like at the beginning of the series, he wasn't he was held down to lower than his average, and then absolutely went off. And his numbers were compared to what Jordan did and some other absolutely amazing players that have done. And it's remarkable to see what this team has done. As I said to you, both where I was thinking to Sam last time of how you have DiVincenzo, Hart, and him playing in that arena. They have a banner up there in that arena. Knowing that area so well, I don't think that was talked about enough. But just that relationship that those three have is a big part of what this Knicks team is doing. They also are ferocious on the
on the
offensive
boards.
glass.
Yeah,
Like it's absolutely crazy what they're doing grabbing boards. So it gives them a multitude of chances over and over.
That's a big Sixer weakness, though. They're not good at that. And Embiid was not healthy. Like, he dropped 50, but he was not healthy.
Yeah.
And you could see it in the fourth quarter. He played terribly. He was not in game shape. And how he scored 50 and how he put up the numbers he did.
It's wild.
It is wild. So, yeah.
I also just to Sam's point that he made earlier about the invasion into Philly, the fact that the owner and also homeboy the Fanatics had to go and buy a multitude of tickets just so there wouldn't be an invasion of Knicks fans. It was that says a whole lot. It's just interesting because I feel at this point in this era of sports, as we growing up, like when we first started watching sports, it was New York, Boston. We hate each other. But I feel like now more than ever, it's been New York against Philly. Even though they've always been a rivalry, but every single sport has turned it up. Like a notch, and the hatred is so crazy.
I think it says more about Knicks fans than it does about 76ers fans, to be honest. Like, the Knicks fan base is rabid. And then also that rivalry, like we said before, the Knicks and 76ers haven't faced since the 70s. So I don't know if it's there yet in basketball, but definitely in the other sports. So I just give Knicks fans props for they're nuts. They're insane.
They are. God, Tim.
It's a throwback kind of team too to that. I think when the heyday of, at least, I mean, I'm 38 years old. My lifetime is like those late 90s or 90s, early 2000 Knicks, like bully ball and doing all that. And this team, like, you look at it and it's like, how are they doing? If again, if you didn't watch much basketball, you weren't in the loop, and you look at this roster and you watch this game, and it's like, how is this happening? But it's just, again, on the boards, playing defense, being tough, like not being selfish with the ball, like just from Jalen to, I mean, you have Josh Hart scoring no points and getting like 17 boards. It's like, it's just it's like everyone's bought in, and I don't know if they're going to, I think they'll beat the Pacers. I hope they beat the Celtics. Like, I'd love them to win NBA Finals. I don't know if that's what's going to happen, but it's just been a lot of fun to watch, and it's been a long time coming. And
I think they'll be in every game. Like, whether they beat the Pacers and whether they beat the Celtics, they're going to be in every game. So it's just going to come down to those, if they make the plays. And it's just one last thing for me on the Knicks. Can we, like, slow down with Jalen Brunson, his greatest Knick of all time? Like, Patrick Ewing. Patrick Ewing exists. He exists. I love Jalen Brunson.
I know we're all excited. Like, as a Knicks fan, let's walk it back, and I'm sure
just a little.
Jalen would be the first one. I mean, he grew up with this team too. Like, he'd be the first one to say that.
Same thing when Melo was there. They acted like Melo was the greatest thing since sliced bread. I get it. You guys are longing for a superstar, and you got it now.
Yeah.
But it's just, let's just pump the brakes just a little bit. Just a little bit. Speaking of pump the brakes a little bit, is this young man said, don't call him Jordan.
Yeah, I was just going to say that.
He's the greatest of all time, and that would be A.E. Anthony Edwards, the Ant-Man. You look confused.
I didn't hear that. No, I didn't hear that.
Yeah. So I'll be very brief on what they did to the Suns, but I want to talk about other things. I more so want to talk about AE. Actually, I won't be brief about it. I lied. They swept the Suns.
Yeah, we talked about it last week. Yep, it was already over.
They swept the Suns. It was over before it happened.
Yeah.
Before it even started, it was over. we talked about it when they made the trade to get KD last year and whatnot. They literally gutted their team, and they did not add anything extra except for Bradley Beal, who was on skates throughout this whole entire series because Ant Edwards had him jumping like jumping beans. All right, it was crazy to see what was going on there. I now we since this sweep has happened, now we're hearing that Devin Booker wants to really play in New York, which is also very interesting. We're now talking about KD because he's there. What does he do next? And we're not talking about Bradley Beal because he has a no trade clause, so he's there no matter what.
I'll be damned.
Albatross of a contract, man.
I'll be damned.
It's crazy that he's had a no trade clause when he was in with the Wizards and he hasn't won anything either place, and I think he should have left the Wizards a long time ago, but that's a whole nother topic for another day. I just really don't how the Suns team is currently constructed is absolutely terrible. They literally played iso ball with the three of them throughout the whole entire season, and they got to the playoffs and acted as if it was going to work when they're playing against teams. This is not street ball. This is team basketball. Yes, you have one of the greatest basketball players ever in KD, but again, KD is not the KD that was on the Warriors. This is not that same KD. He also doesn't have the type of shooters around him, period. You have no point guard. Devin Booker is your point guard, who's not another guy that's a guard that's not a true point guard. Bradley Beal's definitely not that. I just don't see where the Suns go from here. Like, this team, it's just going to get bad. If it's not bad already, like, the worst it could be, I feel like it's going to spiral down even more moving forward. So I don't know what they do. Do either of you have a suggestion or thoughts on what they can do to change this?
We talked about it last week too. They don't have control over their first round pick till I think they have this year's, but after that, and it's going to be a lower pick because they made the playoffs, but they don't have control till 2031. The rest are like pick swaps between your Nets and the Wizards or whatever. Like they're screwed. They're going to have to move. Again, I think moving Beal, you're going to get pennies on the dollar, and maybe that's all that he's worth anyway. I don't know, but you're going to have to move Booker or KD to just recoup something here. And yeah, a lot of talent walked out that door. Ayton, Bridges, there's no depth on this team. Yeah, Cam Johnson, and I don't really know what. know what you do. You're up against the luxury tax. Yeah.
They're completely stuck. Like that's it. Yeah. Like they have 51 to Durant, 50 to Bradley Beal, 49 to Devin Booker, 18 to Nurkic. Like they're done. Like
Nurkic,
they have to you either got to completely blow it up or just run it back next year and take your 6 to 10 seed and see how it shakes out. But they're stuck. They're absolutely stuck. Their owner said after, he's like, 26 of 29 NBA teams would take our roster in a heartbeat. I'm like,
no, they wouldn't.
I'm like, okay.
No, they wouldn't. They might take one person from your roster. They're not going to take your roster. Okay. Period. Yeah. Period.
They're not going to. They're not going to. They're just in the middle. Like they're in the middle. Correct. Like that's the worst place to be.
And we mentioned Harden too, like being thankful for K-Dot and Drake here. I think KD needs to do the same thing. I mean, and I know you weren't on last week, Harrison, but like, and I know he was hurt when he signed with the Nets, but then there was a series where his foot was right over the line and they would have gone. I don't remember who they played in that series. The Bucks, right?
Yep.
And they ended up winning the championship there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so. Like aside from that, like KD has not escaped the second round since he was with the Warriors, and it's just he's another year older, and I still think he's a dynamic player. But like, it's kind of like I'm just kind of tired of the movement and the pointing fingers. Even though you're right, they did play iso ball all year. There's no depth. We kind of saw this coming like last March, right? Like. And it's kind of playing out, and it's going to be Hayes, I'd be very happy to have those picks in a couple of
I
years.
am.
It's going to get really ugly, man.
I'm very
It's like
happy.
payback for Tatum
Very
and
happy.
Brown.
Yep.
Played out
Yeah.
exactly how we expected. Like we said, this
Yeah.
team has
Yep.
no depth. They're top heavy, and that's how
Yeah.
it played out. Instagram shocker post for me. I could definitely see like Curry, LeBron, and Durant finding a way to be on the same team somehow next year.
Yeah, I could.
Just
I
could see
could.
it.
It'd be very, very interesting to see what happens with that. It's also very interesting to see that the three dynamic superstars, future Hall of Famers, have not made it past. One didn't even get into the playoffs, and then the other two were bounced in the first round.
You never
It's really crazy to see.
you never know when the end's coming until it's here.
It's here. It's here. I mean, I still feel that given the right team, one of those three players can absolutely win a championship, depending on if there's some way to move, or to Harrison's point, if somehow, some way they maneuver to get them on the same team. It's just looking real grim for all three of them at this point in time, because none of their teams are their supporting cast. The younger players aren't like those guys, and then they're in the Western Conference with younger players that are those guys, and each of those other teams that we have talked about and are going to talk about still have a guy or multiple guys that are going to continue to go. And with this new NBA, where you can't have this super team, which is the Suns are the last super team that we're probably going to see. Period. Right? Because unless they've drafted well and the guys come up together or whatnot, but they're probably going to be the last major super big three that we see with this
You
new
can't
NBA.
do it through free agency anymore.
Correct.
Yeah, and I mean the Bob Myers built the Warriors the way you should build a team, right? I mean, you had lottery picks. You stumbled upon the greatest shooter of all time. Not stumbled upon. I mean, he's not Tom Brady in the 6th round, but like, Steph is there. They had is he small? The ankles, all of that. Clay, Draymond's a 2nd round pick. Oh yeah, and now you have money. And you get, KD. Like, it's how you and they won 73 games before KD was even there. So it's like, that's how you build a team. And I think it's the same thing we talk about with quarterbacks and the salary cap in football. Like that 5-year window that you have before that money hits and things get weird. And then you got to trade Tyreek Hill and all of this stuff like that, that's your window. And yeah, you're right. This is probably one of the last like manufactured, 2K teams that you're going to see for a while. For real.
I know we talked off air about the Kendrick and Drake beef and how this is like the first hip hop beef in social media. When the 30 for 30 comes out, or the documentary comes out for Kevin Durant, I feel that he's the first player to really be influenced by social media, because honestly, I think he left the Warriors because of what everybody was saying about him. He could have just stayed there, and if he would have stayed there, he would have won more rings and more rings and more rings. There was no reason he had to leave outside of him and Draymond bickering. They could have figured that shit out, and they could have done something from there. He should have never ever left at that point in time. You guys are talking about me and my whatever and career, whatever. If he would have continued to win rings, I don't think people would be talking and having this conversation.
And needed to be okay that it was Steph's team in the sense of just what it was like, and who Steph is and how likable he is. And KD's forever been kind of, even though it's weird because he doesn't say any of it, he's not like A-Rod, where Alex Rodriguez, where it's like, just love me, guys. Just love me. I'm A-Rod. Love me. Like, KD doesn't do that. But if he was just okay with, all right, I'm going to play third base. I'm going to get a bunch of rings. I'm going to win another MVP or two. And, like, you're still going in as a top 20 player all time. And you're going to have a handful of rings. And I think you're not going to look at KD like, where's the bad part? He joined a super team, and he still played at yes, the floor was open for KD to just be insane because again of what the rest of the team demanded from defensive wise. But I think that you'd probably want that more than just kind of, all right, I'm bounced out of the second round. I don't like this coach. We don't need a coach.
But
Trade me. I want my
it's
friends
his
here.
personality though. It's
Yeah.
his personality. He's proven over and over he's influenced by what people say. He hears everything. There's a reason why he has a goddamn burner account, so he can say whatever he wants to say from there. And he's probably got multiple outside the ones he got exposed. Like KD is absolutely, he hears everything. He sees everything. He responds to everything. He feels everything, and he's allowed certain things to alter his career. If you don't think that he's sitting there listening to people talk about he can't win it on his own, like
Yeah. I
he's
understand that.
not to think about it, like he is one of the greatest shooters we've ever seen in our life. He's one of the greatest scorers we've ever seen in our life to touch a basketball, period. But now he has this narrative against him that he's not the guy. He's not the guy that could do it. He never said he was the guy. He just really loves basketball. But we automatically put him in that box because if he's so great and said he has to be that guy because he's great. He never said he was that guy. He just wants to play basketball. He loves basketball. He's really good, right?
Yeah.
So it sucks because you know that his heart, even watching what happened in with the Nets, like the whole situation with Kyrie and whatnot, he still went out there and played while all that shit was happening. Like he still continued to play. He just wanted to play ball. It's just we put him in this box of he has to be that guy to get all the rings. He has to do this to be all that, and it sucks. It's a real shitty position.
And I think I was just gonna. This is my like with the, and this is a topic for a podcast that I know we've been talking about for a long time. Like why I feel like LeBron doesn't get enough credit because he's been that dude and he wanted to be that dude and he wanted to be put in that box since he was like 15, 16 years old. And he has, aside from wanting to take his talents to South Beach and that stupid comment, like aside from that, he has pretty much done everything, excelled at everything, and done it that way. And it doesn't always happen that way. Like how many like young aspiring players have we seen flame out, or like the Ja Morants, like who knows if that's ever going to like where that's going to go, Zion, all of this stuff. Like he has consistently done it. And that's a really interesting point that you brought up about KD, because like, yeah, like that's the thing on him. Like he's quote soft, like he's got thin skin, like, but why don't more players have that? You know what I mean? Like they're all seeing, especially now more than ever, everyone's got a million social accounts. They, you know, they got idiots like us, like just having there's a million sports podcasts everywhere and things, not that they should care what we say, but like just in general, it's like, it just seems like the narrative is that it just kind of he's obsessed with the feedback and the criticism.
Harris, what were you gonna say?
Obviously we psychoanalyze KD a lot, but I think he's like one of the first true like millennial superstars, and like I don't think he cares about any of this, and I think he stated it a long time ago, and I think he knows like I'm just not LeBron. Like and he's grew up, he's come up in that era, same as the bunch of players in MJ's era that just never won, and he's just not as good as LeBron. He's a great player, just not as good as LeBron. So he's like, I'm just gonna enjoy whatever journey I'm on. Like, and he treats it like AAU teams. He's like, let's try this new experience next. All right, like I did the Warrior stuff, I'm good. Let me go try Brooklyn. Like, okay, that's fine. Let me go try the Suns. And it's like, I think he just is fine with like, let's just try some new experiences every single year and do some different stuff and just play basketball. And that's something that he's been dedicated to, his entire career. And he said it, like, I just love to play ball. And that's what he is. He's a baller, and he's going to do it wherever. And I don't know if he cares about whatever his legacy is. It's already been defined in pretty much, and he said it.
Correct.
And that's just, it's not sad for the fan. Like, we know he's a championship winning player and a championship caliber player, but I don't think he cares about any of that. I think he just wants to play ball.
Play ball, yeah. That's all he ever wants to do, and I appreciate that.
I respect that.
Yeah,
that's a good perspective.
That's him.
Yeah,
that's him.
Yeah, and that's okay. That's you don't have to be the Jordan, LeBron, Kobe, so on and so forth. You can still be a great. He's got rings, like you know what I mean. Like he's got that. Now he's just at this point in time, like I'm just playing basketball. Does he want to win more? I'm sure he wants to.
Yeah,
but he's probably also, to your point, okay with not winning more if it happens. He's he's not going to go out there and not try to win. Like he's going to try to win,
Yeah.
but it just may not happen.
Yeah.
We spoke a lot about the Suns. We'll talk about the Timberwolves in a second because they've already played their first game in the second round. But let's get to the Lakers. Speaking of LeBron, who is now a free agent, or he's probably going to opt out of his contract at this point to see what happens. They just fired Darvin Ham, who is the scapegoat of this situation. Don't think that's fair.
I think that's fair.
AD, excuse me?
I think that's fair.
I don't.
Okay.
We'll get into that, though. AD has said we have stretches where we don't know what we're doing on both ends of the floor. That sounds like a player situation. You should probably figure out and talk to your coach about that if you want to blame your coach for that. You also have that. So now they're looking for a new coach.
Yep.
They, again, did not beat the Nuggets. The Nuggets continue to own them. Their announcer is absolutely ridiculous because he makes sure he rubs it in every time the Nuggets beat the Lakers. It's comical. What do the Lakers do now? What can they do now at this point in time is a question. We don't even need to speak about the Nuggets because we'll talk about them in a second. But what do the Lakers do? What is their next move personnel wise? And then we'll get into the coach.
I mean,
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't either.
I mean,
LeBron.
You want to keep LeBron, right? I mean, like that's. I mean, and you get, which is crazy because LeBron's been healthy all year, been playing at a high level for where he is at 37, 39 years old. And AD played all season. And he played well all season. But unfortunately, like, that was it. And, you get goose eggs from your supporting cast, and who the hell knows what's going on with D'Angelo Russell. Like that's gone. Like, and the some of the guys that kind of ignited this team last year that got us so excited, was Rui or Austin or Vanderbilt. All the, like, it just did not work this year. And I don't, it sounded like an AD problem. It sounded like a coaching problem to a degree. I don't know if Ham's the scapegoat. Like, he is the scapegoat. I don't know if it's like.
I think it's all of that. I mean, it's all of them. They're all culpable. Like, LeBron they're great. AD is great, but they dominate the ball so much that no one else can really develop. And then you got a young coach that doesn't really know how to control that. But then on the other side, they dominate the ball, but those other guys they're not very good. Like, I like D'Angelo Russell, but he's not a consistent player. Rui is not a consistent player. Austin Reeves, not a consistent player. And honestly, I had the Nuggets winning the championship, so they lost to what I think is the championship team. If they take any other route, they're probably in the Western Conference Finals. So they're just not good enough. Like, they're good, they're just not good enough. And I don't know how they remedy that situation. It's just
So to me, it's very interesting to touch on that because as we've all said, like this. The narrative that is at this point in time, or the topic that people are talking about, is Darvin Ham being the scapegoat, the situation. And I find it hard to not say that he's that, is because they've had the lead in the series throughout most of the time. They blew 20-point leads. They blew 15-point leads. Like, they blew major leads. And it says to me that you guys are more than capable of playing this team extremely hard, but then you let the foot off the gas. Now, that's a credit to the Nuggets as well, because they are a championship caliber team that has already won. They have their number, and they have a better matchup against them. And also, Jokic washes in the first half of the game. Jokic is just analyzing what's going on. In the second half of the game, he absolutely takes over. So is that what you're going to say, Harrison? Because it looked like that's what you're thinking, too.
I'm blaming Darvin Ham for this. They literally, they start doubling Jokic in the second half. For what? Why? Every second half, like, literally, it was the same thing every single game. They would let Jokic go one-on-one in the first half. They'd have a good half, and then they would start doubling him, and then he would just kick it out to all these other guys, and all those other guys would get hot.
Team's too deep. Literally, they're too big.
It's literally a coaching adjustment at halftime to double Jokic. I was mind blown that they just did it over and over again. It was crazy. It was crazy.
That's fair. I mean, I also, it's I also think back to like last year
Yeah.
too, like where LeBron was out most of the season. Darvin Ham was able to coach AD up and the team up to get them into the playing game,
Yeah.
to get into
Yeah.
playoffs, and they end up being in the Western Conference Finals last year, right? And then we fast forward to this year and their first round bounce,
They're,
right? But they won
they
the first ever playing tournament. They won several
yeah.
different things, but it's just like,
They just made mistakes against the Nuggets. Like AD is
yeah,
not a center. He's not a center. He never has
no,
been. They've never that roster they had when they won the championship in the bubble. They had centers. They had Dwight. They had JaVale McGee.
Zion, Dwight,
Yeah.
They had centers,
Yeah.
and their small lineup. They're not small. They're big, but AD as center lineup works against a lot of teams. It doesn't work against the Nuggets. So they can maybe solve that problem and find a center that can help match up, which is why the
you need to
Timberwolves
free up AD.
the Timberwolves look so good. Cat not a center. Like and
He
they
won
don't play him
a
as one.
3-point champion.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like they just made major coaching mistakes and adjustments against the Nuggets, but not all Darvin Ham's fault. He doesn't have anyone that can slide in that center role. So
correct.
Maybe they run it back and find a center and it's a different fate, but they just weren't good enough against the Nuggets.
I think Rob Pelinka is dodging a lot of bullets here.
100%.
And I don't like we're talking about Darvin Ham, but I think
100%.
all these media outlets need to be talking about Rob Pelinka and the non-moves that he made. Like Dwight Howard's still sitting out there. I'm not saying Dwight Howard is the Dwight Howard of Orlando Magic or whatnot, but you need another, to your point, Harrison, you need another big body down there to take that time and let AD do what AD really is supposed
Yeah, you got
to
to free him
do.
up.
And allow, but also throwing multiple big men at Jokic is what is going to work. That's the only way it's going to work. And why the Timberwolves, this series is going to be so pivotal with the height that they have. The Timberwolves are the tallest team in the NBA. And I'm sure they've constructed it this way so they can go against the Jokic's and so on and so forth.
Here's the most fun part about this series. So Tim Connolly, who's the GM of the Timberwolves, built the Nuggets. How do you know how to beat the Nuggets? He built them.
Yep.
Built them.
Yep.
They're built.
Yep.
Whether they can beat the Nuggets or not, I don't know, but they're built to do it.
Yeah, they are. They absolutely are, and I'm here for it.
Yeah,
I'm here for it.
Rudy's going to win another Defensive Player of the Year. You have Cat Williams or Cat Williams. Cat. Might as well. You have Cat. Just look.
that's awesome.
McDaniels, and then the guy who we've talked about for a while now, and just looking like the future star of this league and face of this league,
face of the NBA. Yeah.
just evolving and again on the national stage, Anthony Edwards, who just kind of
if they beat the Nuggets, he might actually be him already, which is
it might be happening now.
Yes.
I thought he was a couple years away, 1 or 2 years away at most.
He might be
but
here
it
now.
might be actually now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Agreed. So before we get into that series, because I definitely want to talk about that, who do the Lakers get as their head coach? I think it's Bud. I think they get Mike Budenholzer. I honestly do. I don't. I still think it's the dumbest move that the Bucks made in general was letting go of their championship coach because since then, and obviously seeing what has transpired, I mean, even when it happened, we were just like, why would you do that? So I feel that you get somebody like him. Again, depends on if Ty Lue doesn't re-sign with the Clippers, which it most likely will happen. His connection with Bron is huge, and we know that they have a brotherhood in that case. So I wouldn't be surprised he also won a championship with him in Cleveland. So that relationship there, right? But then you also have my guy, Kenny Atkinson, who I absolutely love as well, too. And the JJ Redick thing, I swear, if they go and get JJ Redick, I will smack somebody for that. I don't think JJ Redick needs to be a coach anytime soon. I'm not saying that he doesn't understand the game. He does, very much so. But there's a difference between understanding the game and coaching NBA players and being able to command the respect of the locker room amongst them. Yes, they know you played. You can be a player coach. It'll take time. I really wish JJ would get an assistant manager job because I don't want him to end up like Steve Nash again.
I've always that has always bothered me. And it's a couple former baseball players that you would remember are now managers in the league. And it's like, you weren't even like, what did you do last year? You didn't even coach like AAA or something. You weren't even a bench coach. It's like the Nash thing bothered me because it's like, and look, Hall of Famer, changed like a lot of things that he introduced, or the way he played basketball changed that era of basketball. He's a hell of a player and whatnot, but like, yeah, that bothered me. And like, yeah, I don't know if it's like one of these things where okay, JJ, you got to take your lumps in Toronto or Charlotte, wherever, like whoever's courting him, but like, it's, yeah, I love Kenny. The Bud thing was crazy. It makes a lot more sense when you realize what Milwaukee did in the middle of the season with hiring Doc. So it's kind of like, all right, you got rid of your championship coach like a year later, 2 years later, and then but yeah, I mean, it's kind of like it's Jason Kidd. I know he was a head coach or assistant coach with the Lakers for a couple of years. Yep. Kind of, he was Milwaukee first. He was with Brooklyn first, or New Jersey, whatever.
He was with Brooklyn
and then
first,
and then Milwaukee.
And then it was kind of like, all right, I need to like step back. I need to, I'm gonna get a really good coaching. I'm with the Lakers, won a championship. Now with the Mavs, and looks, we're just praising him 10, 20 minutes ago. So it's, maybe that's the route that JJ Redick should, that I guess the stereotypical route that you would think a former player would do, but
it's like
what do I know?
No, and even the first couple years with Jason Kidd, it was rocky. And they weren't ready, So, and the Lakers don't have time to do that. So I think JJ Redick is the wrong move for that position.
Agreed.
I think he can be a head coach just in a different kind of capacity. I'd like to see him kind of work his way up and learn it a little bit. So I think Bud is probably the best of that bunch, other than Ty Lue, which I don't think they're going to get. So they need a now coach.
They do.
But we also need to see what LeBron's going to do. So, and if LeBron, opts out and goes somewhere else, that they're square one, right? Like, they're a basement team.
Yeah, they are a team that is looking outside of the play-in. Honestly,
they're looking at first round draft pick. Like, they're a basement team. Yeah,
so they are. I wish that would happen to the Suns, so the Nets picks just go higher. Anyway, let's get to the conference semifinals. I'm going to run down the matchups, the games, and we can just touch on the two that are actually playing tonight, since there's a whole lot of other games, and then we can dive into the other series if you guys want to talk about it real quick. But game 2 tonight of the Timberwolves Nuggets. Timberwolves are up 1-0 in the series. The game is tonight at 10 p.m., which absolutely sucks for me because my bedtime's a half an hour after that. So
sucks.
I will have to record it. I'll probably stay up a little bit later just to watch the first half and then go to sleep. But so they're playing tonight. Their game 3 is Friday, May 10th, 9:30 p.m. Game 4 is Sunday, May 12th, 8 p.m. Then we have game 1 of the Pacers Knicks. Game 1 tonight is at 7:30. We have game 2 Wednesday, May 8th, 8 p.m., Friday, May 10th, 7 p.m., and then Sunday, May 12th, 3:30 p.m. Obviously, there's potential other games from there, but we'll just start off with that. We then have the Cavs versus Celtics. Game 1 is May 7th, 7 p.m. Game 2, Thursday, May 9th, 7 p.m. Game 3, Saturday, May 12th, 8 p.m. And Game 4, Monday, May 13th, 7 p.m. And then we have the Mavs, Thunder. Game 1, May 7th, 9:30. Thursday, May 9th, 9:30, May 11th, 3:30, and then Monday, May 13th, 9:30. So, again, let's start at the top. We'll start at the game that starts first tonight. Pacers, Knicks, first game, opening series, in the Garden. How do you think this is going to go tonight?
I think Knicks,
hopefully really good.
Yeah, I think Knicks take it tonight. This should be a good series. You got Pacers heavily offensive, don't play a lick of defense.
Nope.
So it could be a quick series for the Knicks, or it could just be a long one, just because the Pacers are lighting up. I'm intrigued. I really don't know how this series is going to go. I didn't
even realize. I read something today, but like OG and Pascal Siakam both on the Raptors being in the year, and now they're like,
Yeah.
you know,
Each other.
mid-season trades, kind of both rejuvenated their teams in a way, and yeah, I mean the Pacers can score with anybody,
Yep.
but but can they, like can they stop the Knicks? Well, I think this is probably where defense, and just being a really tough team that can shoot, will play into the hands of Knicks with this one. But it'll be a fun series for sure.
This could be.
I think the Knicks win the series. Go
It
ahead.
just could be one where it's like home court advantage has been absolutely huge this playoffs, and it's because
Yeah.
they're calling less fouls. That directive that they had after the All-Star break is really paying off in the playoffs because just the home team is just getting away with a lot more, and that's why you're seeing a lot of home teams win.
Bleacher Report. Do not ever give me a push notification of Ben Simmons being at the goddamn Met Gala and asking me if I care about his fit when he can't even play goddamn basketball.
Do you care?
Oh,
It's a do you care segment.
yeah, that's absolutely. I don't care. I feel the Knicks winning are going to win the series in 6 games.
Okay.
I honestly feel that it's just the energy is just too high around them. They have too many advantages, especially the on the boards advantage. I think that's the huge thing to sway this situation. Offensively, I think they're going to be neck and neck when it comes to that because they both can score. But yeah, I think the Knicks definitely take this. I also wanted to say something real quick about that Pacers Bucks series that we didn't really talk about that one. I don't think we talked about that at all. We really didn't need to talk about it, even though we know what happened. But it's funny if you remember at the beginning of the season when Giannis had that game when the game ball was taken, that whole situation happened, and how it all led to what happened. Just thought it was really funny. I'm surprised people didn't really go back to that because that was a very interesting part of the beginning of the season. It was very, very early. But,
I just think that series was a complete throwaway because you don't have the top 3 best player in the league. Dame was injured. It was just disappointing.
Giannis was playing so well right before he got hurt at the end of the year, man. It complete. I think they probably take that series in 5 or 6 if those two guys were healthy.
I'm the same way. Like how I feel about the Mavs, I feel about the Pacers. Like they're good, but I didn't like that first round match. I thought the first round matchup it tested them, but it just I don't know.
Really.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a big moment for Halliburton. We've SGA's on this kind of stage now. We've certainly AE. We've talked a lot about there too. Paolo, he's a dynamic player who was playing really well at the middle of the year, and I know the team's offensively really talented, and we'll see how this works out.
I think the Knicks have defenders to throw at him that the Bucks didn't.
They have the leg to slow him down a bit. We'll see what the rest of the team can do.
You just got to slow the head of the snake down a little bit, and I think the Knicks will be able to do that.
I agree. Timberwolves, game 2 tonight.
It's so weird that this series started before the other ones were done.
Very weird.
I'm just not used to that.
Yeah, it is weird. Tonight at 10 p.m., if the Timberwolves are able to take this game tonight, the Nuggets are in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care what anybody says. If they take 2 games in the Nuggets' home, obviously,
and then you have to go to Minnesota.
To Minnesota, but if they take the first 2 there, the Nuggets are in trouble.
Very much so.
They're absolutely in trouble. I feel I want, because AE is my favorite young player in the league. I'm biased and I absolutely want them to win, but I think the Nuggets are going to give them their absolute best shot tonight. And in that angle, if the Nuggets do give them their best shot tonight, and they only win by a couple of points, I think that's encouraging for the Timberwolves too, because it's like, oh, they only beat us by a couple. Okay, we got this. Like they gave us everything. They threw everything at us, and this is all they could do. Got it. I think this is just a very interesting series of how the matchups are in general, because you got Cat who can space the floor, but Jokic can also space the floor, right? You got Rudy who can can clog the paint, and he's just a good defensive player. And that's all he really adds to that side. You obviously have AE, who can pretty much do anything. That mid range is absolutely deadly, which I'm loving his mid range game. You got Jamal Murray, that we know that once he gets hot, he's probably one of the hardest players to stop in the league once he gets going. But you also got a player that the Lakers used to have and just let walk out the building, KCP, who is a phenomenal player for them. You got Michael Porter Jr., who is he's able to play multiple positions as well. So it's like these matchups are just so good. I mean, also, I'm sorry, Nas. Nas being the sixth man of the year, Nas Reed, it's just it's so interesting these matchups that they have in here, and I just feel like it's just this series can absolutely go either way, and I'm here and I pray this series goes 7 games because I want to see just phenomenal basketball.
Yep.
So please make it that.
I think if the Timberwolves win tonight, they win the series, and then I think if the Nuggets win tonight, it goes 7. And then I don't know games. I don't know who wins in Game 7. But I think if the Timberwolves are able to go 2-0 on the Nuggets home court, it might be over quicker than we want it to be. But I think the Nuggets take it tonight, and I think this goes 7.
Fair.
Yeah. I mean, as I know, the T-Wolves were close to a number 1 seed all year and tied. We just talked about the 3-way tie thing, but you go to Denver, the reigning champs, and you at worst split, and you go home like that. That's got to be a good feeling with a team that just does not, doesn't really see like. I look at him, and a lot of this comes from AE, like just watching him, and and that's where a lot of these comparisons to like the Kobe, the MJ, you look at it, he does not look flustered by this. Like, and you could tell, and we talked about it too, just the having Karl Anthony Towns like be like his big brother and by his side the last couple years and do all of this, and then you have like guys like Mike Conley who are just like it's like, guys, I do not want to go home, like I don't know how much of this I have left, and it's just like that's the kind of energy and that's the kind of like team dynamic that can be really sneaky, and when up against a big team like the Nuggets can cause a lot of problems. So I agree with you guys.
I think it's also understated the type of leadership that he already has of that locker room, AE, that is. You named the veterans that are around him, but they look to him. If he's been mic'd up, and you can hear the stuff that he says to these guys. I don't know if you paid attention to the press conference after they swept, but or I think it was the game before they swept. No, I think it was the last one, whatever. But it was Edwards, and it was also Cat. And he said, I told Cat, we're going to win these series because of him, because of what he's able to do. He can be put in so many different angles and whatnot. He said, but I told his ass to stay out of foul trouble. And he said, yeah, we can win if you stay out of foul trouble, and kept like looking at him like that's a big part of it, because what Cat can do, the fact that he can shoot threes, the fact that he can go into the paint, the fact that he can be in a pick and roll, he can do so many things for that team and allow it to open up. He is, I know we're all focused on Ant, but he is a focal point of that offense. And if he's in foul trouble, that is absolutely the part that can ruin this for them.
That's why I'm not sure if they win. Like, I haven't fleshed this like theory out in my head, but it's like I'm just gonna talk through it right now. So I think how the Timberwolves play dictates the whole series, not necessarily how the Nuggets play. I think the Nuggets are just going to be solid and a formidable opponent throughout. But I think if the Timberwolves can play to their potential every game, they should be able to win. I'm just concerned about Cat in a Game 6 and a Game 7 because, truthfully, I think he's soft. And I don't know if he can shed that. That's just the type of player he's always been.
Yeah.
And the truth comes out when it comes down to like, okay, we have to win this game and we have to win it right now. So that's my concern. Like, I think Anthony Edwards is going to be Anthony Edwards throughout this series. He's as solid as they come. He's the next best face of the league. Like that's just what he is.
Agreed.
But it's gonna come down to Cat, and I don't love that.
I agree with you on that because there's been plenty of situations that he's been soft, but I also feel that was his the narrative on him in the beginning of his career because Jimmy Buckets made sure that. I don't think it's changed too much.
I think he is what he is.
To be fair, to be fair, but I think he's added when that was happening. I feel like his game also wasn't what it is now. Like his game has improved so much, sure. and he's a different player from when Jimmy was calling him out, calling him soft. You're soft. Like so. I don't. It'll be interesting to see what he does.
Yeah.
I can see that, Harrison, and I have no pushback to that whatsoever because I've seen what he's done in those situations. Real quick, I just want to know. I'm just going to run down these two.
Yeah, we don't have to go through the next one very much.
No. Okay. That's all. That's why I'm saying it's going to be real quick. Who do you have winning, Cavs or Celtics? Do we all agree on Celtics?
Yeah. Quickly.
Do we? Okay, I think it's going to be a sweep, but the Cavs may get one. But Porzingis is out still, right?
Last I heard he wasn't playing this round. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the only reason that I think the Cavs might get one. But I still not holding my hat on that. Mavs Thunder. Who do you have, and how? What do you think the series is going to be? Like, how many games do you think it's going to be in?
I like this Thunder team. I mean, we just spent 15 minutes talking about Luka and Kyrie, but I don't know. I don't know.
I'm with you, Sam. I like the Thunder. I need to see it. This one I really don't know. It could go. It's I don't know. Stupid to say. Cliche. It could go either way.
I'll say Thunder in 6. I'm gonna say Thunder in 6, but I'm not. I'm hedging here. But I just okay. I really like SGA. I mean,
yeah, I love SGA.
Yeah, I like this Thunder team. I don't know.
I just the reason why I have Thunder in 7 is because I think the Mavs, even though Luka doesn't have championship DNA yet, at least in the NBA, Luka is also a different player he's cold-blooded. Like he came in the league playing against grown men, right? He's been a pro for many, many years. So I give him respect for that. And Kyrie has won a championship. You have a head coach
made one of the biggest shots of all time.
You're going against a young team that doesn't have rings. Their coach doesn't have a ring, right? If I remember correctly, I think he might have a ring on the bench as assistant coach. But I think that might play a factor in it to go 7 games. But I still think, which is an underrated part that people I don't think talk about as much, but the length of the Thunder is going to be a problem in this series, honestly. And their athleticism is ridiculous. So, yeah, I have to go Thunder in 7. All right. Well,
you see how I just didn't pick there.
Yeah, that's fair. NBA
really...
awards, real quick. Most improved player, Tyrese Maxey.
I don't understand that one.
Go ahead. Why don't you understand?
I love Tyrese Maxey. He was awesome last year too. Like that's not most improved. Like he went from really good to really great.
Yeah, Joel wasn't on the floor for 50 games, so he had to just. I don't understand.
But he was. I don't know. I don't get that one.
I guess I'm blanking on who it should be or who the obvious answer is, but yeah, I mean Tyrese is just playing the same way.
Let me look real quick. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't know who could be the most improved player. Well, while you look for that, 6th man of the year, Nas Reed. Clutch player of the year, which I didn't know was a thing, Steph Curry. Coach of the year is Mark. I can't say his last name. I just say
Dagnall.
Yeah,
we'll go with that. And then executive of the year, Brad Stevens.
Second was Kobe White. Alperen Sengun was 3rd.
Kobe should have won that. Are you kidding me? Kobe
Yeah.
was going nuts this year.
Oklahoma City, Jalen Williams was 4th. Brunson was 5th. Okay. Jalen Suggs was 8th. Yeah, I don't know. I think it should be like you were not good and now you're really
Yeah,
good.
and then you were really correct.
Yeah.
I'd say
Correct.
too. I mean, Clay Thompson played like I know again the playing game he disappeared, but he played like a million games this year. Like he was another one of these guys where like just played really well. Again, he's already a Hall of Famer at some point. I feel like so maybe you can't really have the most improved. Maybe it's not like comeback
Yeah,
player of the year kind of thing, but
yeah, no. He'd have to
but
shoot the lights out. He'd
yeah.
have to look like old Clay
I'm thinking
for it
of
to
maybe like baseball or football, like comeback player of the year, like I didn't
yeah.
play last year kind of thing, and I came back strong.
Nah, it's over for Clay.
That's
It's over.
I'm not
It's just over for
fighting
him.
that.
All right. A fun part of this before we get to some baseball, which is fun as well too. But Harrison put this on here. It's very, 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 very interesting, which I really, really like. It's start, bench, and cut. It's Luka, Anthony Edwards, Jason Tatum, and so since I'm speaking, I'm starting Luka, I'm benching Ant Edwards, and I'm cutting Jason Tatum. Luka, because again, as I said about the pro situation, Luka can just do everything, period. And I just love what he's able to do, even though he looks so slow doing it. It's just this. He can do everything on the court that you're asking him to do, and he's just a nightmare matchup 1 through 5. He can do whatever he needs to do. And Edwards is just because as he's evolving, he has that. I've watched Tatum in situations where I wish that he would nut up or shut up type situations. And I just feel that he just didn't have it. This year, I feel like he has it more, like he just wants it more. But I feel that Ant is just an absolute killer, and he's just not going to stop. You give him any edge, he's going to take that. And I want that. And it's hard as hell for me to cut Jason Tatum because Jason Tatum has absolutely been balling his mind out this year. But I'm still cutting him. So, yeah.
I'm going to start Ant, bench Luka, cut Tatum.
Fair.
Yeah. That's
I
where I'll go.
I hate these things. I know we talk about this all like we talk amongst ourselves about this all the time. This is giving me anxiety all day because my instinct, and this has nothing to do with the Celtics and I could care less. Like I think Jason Tatum's a phenomenal player, and yeah, I agree with you, Hayes. I feel like there's still levels that need to be unlocked with him, and I think he's made a huge step forward in that regard.
Yeah.
I think he's hurt by the fact that the rest of his team is so good.
Sure.
Where it's been for years. It's kind of like, okay, Jason, Jalen, why haven't you taken that next step? And now it's kind of like there's so much around him that he doesn't need to. But my gut, and I don't want to be a prisoner of the moment with the Anthony Edwards thing, but my gut instinct was start Luka, bench and cut Tatum, and I still it feels weird with Tatum cutting Tatum.
I'm gonna push back on one thing that you said though about Tatum,
Yeah.
even with the people surrounding him. He has improved, and you
Yeah.
can see that he's
Yeah.
absolutely improved, and you can see that he's absolutely that guy. I still can't believe that Jaylen Brown is getting paid more than him, but I know that 100% will change. But Jason Tatum he's more than I thought he was going to be coming out of Duke.
Really?
I didn't think he was going to be as good as he is now. Like I thought he was going to be good, right? Because most Duke, UNC, ACC star players come out and they're in the league and they're pretty good, right? Some excel and go above and beyond, but then there's some that are just like they had this aura there in college and they come in and it's just like they're not that guy, whatnot. I didn't know what he was going to be. If I'm being open and honest, I didn't know if he was going to be what he is now or if he was just going to be like a.
I felt that way about Paolo. I
I
felt
didn't
that way.
feel that way about Paolo. I thought he was going to be that dude no matter what.
Yeah.
Because he's just
see
an absolute problem.
They're the same to me. Like it was like what I
feel
saw.
that way?
What I saw in Tatum, I see in Paolo.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I don't. I just like. I think Ant Edwards will absolutely be that guy. I love Luka. I have questions about if he's like a winner or not. Just overall, and I have the same questions about Tatum sometimes because it's like he just hasn't quite taken that leap.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he can. Like even at Duke, like he was always really good, but just never took that leap. First years, he's been with the Celtics a long time. He's been there, but never taken that leap. I think Anthony Edwards is going to take that leap.
Yeah, it's floor and ceiling because again, we're talking like 7 years. We've seen Jason Tatum and we've seen him in the finals not play well, and we've seen him in big moments in the playoffs. And you know, he's part of a tremendous organization that's run really well, but he's kind of already. You know, we're basing this on again the ceiling, the projection of what we've seen this rise, right? We're familiar with what Anthony Edwards is doing right now and the trajectory and like that next level. And even though you could say Tatum's already there, at least that where I don't know.
No.
I don't want to be a prisoner of the moment.
That's a perfect way to put it, though. Like I have a good idea that I know Jason Tatum's ceiling, and I have a pretty good idea that I know what Luka's ceiling is.
It's
the
whole
Anthony
mystery
Edwards
box thing.
Yeah,
it's like
you're right. Yeah.
He could be the mystery box. Like
That's
he
a great
could
way
be
to put
Michael
it.
Jordan.
That's a
He
great
could
way to
also
put
be
it.
Jason Tatum.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's the first thing I thought of was, okay, am I crazy to cut Tatum? But I think if you even said at this point cutting Anthony Edwards is it's not the end of the world. It's you know, so much could happen.
Sorry to give you
we could
anxiety.
clip this and look back at it in a year and be like, man, what are we talking about?
Yeah.
But
I think we'll be spot on in a year. But it's always good. You never are going to win in these type of debates.
These are crazy.
And unless somebody gives you like some like far off person, like if there was Grayson Allen in there, yes, I do.
Well, yeah.
I can't stand him. Like if you do him in there, he's absolutely getting cut, right?
He's going to make a lot of money this summer.
He is, didn't he already get extended? I thought he already got a contract with.
I think so.
Grayson. I think Grayson Allen just signed a contract.
Yeah, I think he did. I think you were complaining about it a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I was complaining about it.
My bad. He did.
Yeah.
4 years, $70 million.
Talk about the Duke.
Ridiculous. Anyway,
The Suns have no choice. Like they have to. They've got nothing else. Yeah.
I'm glad he's just not as dirty as he was in Duke. That's just all I know. Even though he started off his career in the NBA dirty. MLB, Sam, real quick, give us the power rankings that you have for the MLB.
I realize I haven't done power rankings all year. I know I tried to do that as often as I could last year. So I did just do a top 5 real quick. And just a sentence or two on each. Number 5, I have the Phillies, 19 and 11. All of these teams have 19 or 18 wins here. Phillies are playing really well. They're getting some, great pitching, clutch hitting. Alec Boehm's playing really well, their first baseman, third baseman. And Zach Wheeler, Ranger Suarez pitching really well. At number 4, I have the Yankees. I was looking around. A lot of other publications have them a lot higher, but they, lost 3 or 4 to the Orioles, and it's great that they beat the Tigers, and I like this Tiger team. But team's playing really well, and they have not gotten, full contributions from their MVP, Aaron Judge, and, we've talked ad nauseum about Glaber and Stanton and whatnot, but they've pitched really well, have some things in the bullpen to figure out, and hopefully they get Garrett Cole back by mid-June, and that'll, that's huge. 3, I have the Orioles, 18 and 10. They do I have the wrong have the wrong records in here? Oh, my bad.
You do.
They're 23. They're 23 and 11 now.
Okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Sorry. I have the wrong record, so
I
ignore
don't think
them.
this doesn't change much though.
Yeah,
No,
the Orioles at 3. They have great pitching. Got John Means back from Tommy John surgery. Gunnar Henderson is talk about MVPs of the league. He won Rookie of the Year last year. He's playing really well. Their third baseman, shortstop. So I have them at 3. Still think they could use some more pitching, but they got some arms healthy and see where that happens. Don't even have guy like Jackson Holiday up yet playing. Dodgers 23-13. That is the adjusted record. Thank you, guys. This team's like Mookie is, and we all talked about the beginning of the year. I know he was your MVP picks. I just picked, Acuna to not say Mookie, but Mookie's playing really well. Freddie, Freeman, Otani. The rest of this lineup is not. So that's once they get going.
Muncie's been going off. So
right, and I just mean like the back end of the lineup. But that said, yeah, they've been playing well, and the Braves. I have questions about how long this will last. They lost Spencer Strider, who I think Harrison and I both had as Cy Young winner.
Sure
he's out for the year. Tommy John, or he didn't have Tommy John surgery, had a UCL surgery, so it's kind of like a hybrid Tommy John surgery. Regardless, they're in first place. They're playing really well.
Actually, Phillies
they're not in first place.
Yeah, Phillies are.
But
they won 5 in a row.
Yeah, they're not getting contributions from Matt Olson yet or Austin Riley. And Acuna has 1 home run. So that's not what you want. So
he only has 1 home run.
He only has 1 home run so far. It's crazy.
Ooh.
He's on his pace for the year is like 5 home runs and like 70 steals.
No.
That'll turn around.
Yeah.
I'm not worried. I'm not worried about Ronald Acuna.
No.
I'm worried about the pitching on this team, but we'll see. So that's my power.
I'm worried about
now.
Harrison's comeback player of the year. Pretty sure it was Mike Trout.
It was definitely mine.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was. No,
He
it
was
mine
leading
too.
the league in home runs
too.
before he got hurt. So
Oh, he's hurt. He's hurt.
they were all
again?
solo shots, but
That's pretty funny because I'm pretty sure your friend Brandon said Mike Trout can never stay healthy, and we're right back at it. Mike Trout.
Sometimes you got to take a chance.
You do. Sometimes you do. Just real quick, Sam, I knew I wasn't trying to. That's why I just started typing it because the Yankees were the first AL team to have 20 wins, and the Phillies were the first team to have 20 wins for.
Sounds right.
If I remember correctly.
Yeah.
So I was like, wait, I saw that. I was like, let me just check real quick.
Good looks.
Watching what the Phillies are doing, I watched last night and seeing what's his name, Alec Boehm.
Yeah.
First off, that is Brendan, our friend of the show, our friend. That's his twin. Just 6'5", though. Absolutely raking.
Brendan's not 6'5".
Huh?
He's not
Brendan-
6'5".
Yeah.
No.
Now with the hair,
6'5".
you put the hair gel
Well,
up.
if
He's
Brendan
not.
grows his hair back
Yeah.
out, he might be 6'5".
Okay, maybe.
So just watching I watched him last night against the Giants, just a little bit, and it was just seeing the Phillies, like they have this different type of energy around them. Like I feel what they're doing in Philly with this team, they are really trying to invest in the future, and I think they are making all the right moves, and they are absolutely trying to take over the Yankees. I love a lot about the Yankees outside of Gleyber Torres, and remember what I said about Gleyber Torres, and the skipper has now finally said something about Gleyber too. Yeah, Gleyber, get on your shit, bro. But I think
The errors bother me more than his bat right now.
What happened?
The errors and the
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I remember I talked about
mind.
this.
Yeah, and I know. And
Can we
I
not-
think
Can we not?
okay. What Harrison and I were saying was we don't think you're wrong. We're just saying it's still April. So like
It's and my rebuttal to still April.
Can we
still
not?
Gleyber.
Okay.
Anyway, no, Sam did it. I'm
Move,
trying to
just
walk away
just
from
keep
it.
going.
Brought
Just
back.
keep going.
Anyway,
Just keep going.
I think Aaron Judge woke up because of the umps. I think that this is absolutely what Aaron Judge needed. Juan Soto is raking. I know he just came out with something basically saying it's too soon about the signing and whatever. If I'm Hal, I'm moving into his house and I'm talking to him every single day and saying, "This is a blank check. Just give me your
I'm
number."
on
And
the
he's put
phone with
one
Scott
number every
Boris
single day.
every day. I'm
Yeah,
sending
yeah,
him
every
edible
single day.
arrangements. I'm doing
Yep,
whatever that
yep,
F you need to
yep.
do. Yeah.
Tell Brian Cashman to shut the hell up because he's already rubbed Scott Boris the wrong way
Yeah.
over the offseason. We don't need that to happen. The Orioles, nobody can score against this team right now. And it's absolutely scary knowing that. Watching the Yankees play against them, watching any other team, nobody can score against this team. And they are a really good offensive team. They are a fastball hitting team. So if you're throwing, they're all sitting fastballs. And they are launching them out of the park. So wild. Shohei Ohtani, I'm just going to talk about him, even though my boy Mookie is doing his damn thing. Shohei is like first in several categories at this point in time. It's funny how we're not talking about the betting situation anymore because he's absolutely been raking,
Dude,
and it just disappeared.
you
Just disappeared.
imagine something like that over your head
And
I
he's
mean, we're
balling.
human beings here, and it just shows the guy and everyone in the club, his clubhouse has said it. Like, he's just about ball, man. He was like, "Here, take my phone. I had nothing to do with this. I
Nah,
just want to play baseball." You
Sam, you're
know?
missing it.
Yeah,
This is what he did. He said, "Shit, they all talking about me. I gotta go out here and have the best
yeah,
year of my whole entire life. I'm not pitching this year,
yeah.
so I can just only focus on offense and fielding." Like, okay, cool. Let's
He's
just
not
do
even
that.
fielding. He's DHing. They don't even.
That's right. He's just DHing, so
Yeah,
that's all he has to worry about right now.
that's
So
it.
he's just raking
Yeah, he's
at
playing
this
really
point in
well.
time. And the Braves, I don't think they're going to be at
I
one for much.
look. You were questioning. Why. To Harrison and I give the Phillies more love at the beginning of the season, and I think I could speak for Harrison, saying I know the Phillies are a really good team.
Yeah.
I have quite. I mean, again, there are big bats in this lineup that have not woken up yet. Acuna had an insane season last year, 40-70. Matt Olson hit like 50 home runs. He's not hot yet. Austin Riley's not doing anything. But yeah, losing Spencer Strider is huge. Hopefully, you got contributions from guys like Chris Sale. Hopefully he can stay healthy. We know that's not, always in the cards for him. Max Fried seems like he's figured some things out. But, the Phillies just lost Trey Turner for 6 weeks. So that's huge too. So we'll see. But yeah, it's going to be really fun going into the summer in the NL East for sure.
Phillies 9-1 of the last 10, and then
Yeah.
Twins are also 9-1 of the last 10. So, but I like your rankings. I just moved the Phillies up a little bit because they're so hot. But
Agreed. And that is Sam's first power ranking of the MLB season. Thank you, Sam.
Thank you.
We are going to. I promise you, we're going to do this really, really quick because I want to get the hell out of here because I'm hungry. Do you care? Tom Brady was roasted on Netflix Sunday night, and what was the streaming company's called the greatest roast of all time? Do you care?
I've seen a lot of clips. I haven't watched the whole thing yet. The clips are hilarious, so I'm gonna watch now. I didn't care before. I didn't know it was happening.
I didn't either.
But
I didn't know either, and I didn't realize it until I opened Instagram up at just getting work done last night. It was like 10 o'clock last night, and I'm like, oh, because I remember we talked about it was a Do You Care segment like months ago, but I feel like there was no pub behind this at all, which was really weird, and it was a live thing. I watched it this morning because I just kept seeing it. It's 3 hours. It was recorded live. It is dude. It is 3 hours. It's not an exaggeration.
I'm good.
It was funny. I mean, they're all wrecked up there. Like Gronk is just wrecked. Edelman,
he spiked the shot glass.
Yeah, and
shot glass.
Yeah.
All right.
Belichick was funny. It wasn't like you could tell it was. You could see from the clips like it was kind of awkward, but it was cool to see everyone just kind of not take themselves seriously and just rib on each other. But there's a lot of Giselle jokes. There's a lot of Aaron Hernandez. There's a lot of deflated ball references. And
Spygate was referenced in there. Yeah. Aaron Hernandez is his ex-wife, or she's come out already and said she didn't like certain things to say in there. Kim Kardashian caught a lot of strays.
She got booed, legit booed.
She got booed and whatnot. Dana White caught a stray. Andrew Schultz was absolutely hilarious. Kevin Hart was hilarious from the clips that I seen. So they had, I think Bert Kreischer was up there
Bert and Tom
too.
Segura were up there
Yeah.
together. Yeah,
What's his name that always does the roast? Ross
Jeff
was up
Ross.
there, and
Yeah,
Jeff Ross.
he said the part about the massage, and I heard that Tom Brady
Yeah,
went to
I
him
saw
and
that
said,
one.
"Don't ever say that shit again."
Yeah.
Which is very interesting. So I do care for the clips because that's probably as much as I'm going to do, especially
Yeah.
if you inform me that it's
Yeah.
3 hours.
Now that you told
I'm
me it's
sure-
3 hours, I'm out.
dude.
Yeah, I'm good.
I had it on while I was, working today, and I would stop, and the engaging ones. I mean, Ben Affleck was on there. I didn't think it was very good. Like some of the comedians were like,
Just
it was, it's one of these. If you've seen like one of these like Comedy Central roasts, even though it was a Netflix produced
that's
thing,
why
it was a very similar vibe.
Because these things are like cringe to me. Like
Yeah.
It's like there's certain ones that are like absolutely funny. It's like, oh, these are hilarious, and then you have some people up there, and it's just like the jokes don't hit. There's people up there that are just there because they were invited because they're friends, and then they say stuff, and I'm just like, it's cringe. Like I'm probably gonna be like, if I'm watching and I'm seeing like how people are booing Kim and stuff like that, it's like, this is like.
Which was crazy though. It was part of the Netflix as a joke like festival that they had at the forum, and like the crowd is filled with just celebrities and comedians. Like Hassan Majad was in there, like Joel McHale, like we mentioned Dana White and like Sugar Shane and all, like all these people were there, but like it wasn't as much audience as it was like celebrities. But yeah, she got legit booed.
Breaking news, which I care about way more than this. We have a rookie of the year. Wemby is the rookie of the year.
Yeah.
Wembanyama has won the rookie of the year. He's the first one since Tim Duncan for the Spurs. So I do care about that. So we can
talk about. I mentioned it with LeBron. Obviously, Wemby has 20 more years to go, but like the expectations that were on this kid from an insane like recruiting combine lottery process, and then like just the preseason, the Britney Spears thing, like the draft, like the next guy, and like he's had an insane year, man. Like he's played
it's
really
crazy
well
because he's not being talked about as much now because obviously everything that's gone on, and the other star players like SGA and have their like welcome party to like the rest of the world. So it kind of went under radar because he also plays on a shitty Spurs team. Which
give this guy tools, man. Give him weapons. Let's go.
I think they're going to get some vets there because they're going to see him want to play with this young man, especially what he averaged. It was just absolutely nuts with the rebounding and blocks and whatnot.
They're ahead of schedule. Let's go. He's ahead of schedule. Let's go.
No, that's awesome. It's so good to see for the NBA. Like LeBron's gone soon, so it's like who's carrying this league, and it's all these guys, and the league is in such a good place. When Jordan retired, the league was very down for a couple of years, and we're just
down when LeBron retires.
No, we won't have that. We won't have that.
It won't.
Yeah.
Last thing, so we can get the hell up out of here. After getting a shout out from Kendrick Lamar in his diss track to Drake, Shawn Michaels, the Heartbreak Kid, offered both Drake and Kendrick Lamar to come to the ring in a WWE on a NXT to settle their differences. He said he would play mediator. That is straight comedy because this felt like a wrestling match anyway. So do you care about it? I'm going to flat out say I care because it's just straight comedy, but I don't care about it because we all know that's not happening. But, yeah.
I think I've tried to imagine like Drake and Kendrick in a ring together. Like obviously Drake is a lot bigger than Kendrick, but I just kind of feel like I don't know. I don't know. It'd be funny as hell to watch.
Yeah, I don't watch wrestling. I'd watch that.
I don't watch wrestling either. I would watch this.
I'd watch that. I think
it's topical, man. Let's get
Yeah.
Last do you care, Harrison? We're getting closer to Jake Paul and Mike Tyson.
There we go.
It's upon us. It's approaching.
Still don't give a shit.
Okay. Sam, close us out, good sir.
That's gonna be on what, Netflix, right?
Yep.
Yeah, man.
Yep.
We're
Could be
gonna
on the
have a
could be
live
on the
stream.
moon. Wouldn't care.
I'll come pick you up, Harrison. I'll come pick you up.
Okay.
Don't worry. I'll come pick you up.
Thanks so much for listening. It is episode 133, Chasing Points Podcast. Check us out on social media, on YouTube at Chasing Points Podcast. For Harrison and Brandon, my name's Sam. Thanks so much for listening. Go Knicks.
Go Rangers.
Go Rangers, yeah. Go Yankees.
Go Birds. Bye.
Go Birds.